UFC Fight Night Jandiroba versus Lemos is right around the corner, and man, is this card hot, steamy ass. I mean, look at it. Not a single ranked fighter on the card apart from the main event. And you know the card sucks when your people's main event is Steve Garcia versus Song Woo Choi fight. It's a great fight. At least we are starting to care about Steve Garcia a bit more because he's been putting on a nasty little knockout streak. But come on. When that's the people's main event, you know the card is, a bit of a stinker. But we gonna roll with it. At least we get the pay-per-view next week. It is what it is. Let's just break down the fights and get it over and done with. Also, in my last predictions or something like that, someone asked me to give my locks on the YouTube. So I'll be doing that for this card. So let's get to it. Speaking of locks, let's get started with our main event. I think this is pretty easy to guess in terms of picking who to win. Lemos versus Jandiroba, you gotta go with Jandiroba. Heavy volume wrestler. Her only losses have been to wrestlers or grapplers, let's say. And what is it? I think she lost to Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern, Carla Esparza, and Amanda Ribas. No, I know Amanda Ribas has been striking recently, but her entire career's mainly been based on her grappling. But recently she's been transitioning into the striking realm, but whatever. Heavy volume of takedowns, doesn't seem to get clipped on the feet at all. And Lemos, sometimes she lands that powerful, looping shot, but for the most part, she's a bit tentative, and, she doesn't utilize, a volume-heavy strike in game to, capitalize against a grappler like Jandiroba. Plus, when you're getting submitted and outstrengthed by little people like Zhang Weili and Jessica Andrade, I know they're very high-caliber fighters and very strong in their own right, but Jandiroba's way bigger than them. For the women's division, because she's not the biggest person, but she's big enough to be able to control Lemos, trusting from the fact that we've seen, Andrade and Weili be able to control her, or Andrade submit her and Weili dominantly control her for 16 minutes. I just think this is going to be another one of those boring main events like we saw with Cortez Namajunas, but even worse with the grappling. Maybe one of the first two rounds goes to Lemos, but other than that, Jandiroba takes over rounds 3 to 5 at least, and I think one of the first two rounds for a decision, and I think that's a pretty, guaranteed pick. It's a lock. But hey, co-main event, Tavares versus Young Park. I'm going to go with Tavares. You only have to be like a knockout artist to kind of take out Tavares at this rate. We've known that Tavares has been good against grapplers. And Young Park, he's more of a jiu-jitsu guy than he is a wrestler. And I don't think his entries are going to be to the par of other wrestlers. Like even Weidman. I know Weidman's much older, but still he's a grappler and stuff. But, Young Park, not the best of entries. Even his wins haven't been against the best caliber of opponents. And even, Paul Craig finished Andre Muniz. Old Paul Craig TKO'd Andre Muniz. And Young Park, even, his ground and pound lacked. I think he won the fight, but still didn't do enough. And, I saw the clip of him, submitting Joseph Holmes, I think that dude, when he submitted him, his ground and pound to set it up was weak, so I don't think even if he gets him down, he's going to get out Tavares, because Tavares, whilst he does get clipped and go down often, he is resilient, and he will stay in the fight for as long as he can, but he has good enough boxing to keep it on the feet and piece up to piece up Park, and survive the grappling threat of Young Park to win a decision. Similar style of a fight in terms of entertainment value to Ponzinibbio versus Salikov. Not the most interesting fight, but still. Now, I guess the people's main event, to some extent. Garcia versus Sangwoo Choi, not a lock in my opinion, because Sangwoo Choi, whilst he isn't like the best fighter at all, he has decent boxing, he has decent counter boxing, and if Steve Garcia gets a bit scrappy, he can get clipped and put down. But I think his boxing has been improving recently, been shelling up a bit more, and a bit more power and sting on those punches. Like his body shot against that Asian dude, very nice after he like weaved around to land that nice body shot. Pieced up Chase Hooper, got past his guard. Nobody else has been able to do that. And what is it? Absolutely minced. Oh my god, I'm forgetting his name. Malik Wizel Costa. There we go. Absolutely brutal ground and pound to put that guy out. And Sangwoo Choi, whilst his sometimes he's able to find people in a scrap and knock him down, like he did in that exchange with the dude, and they both got knocked down. His defensive boxing lacks, and for that reason, you just gotta go with Steve Garcia. Even Josh Kulabau, with his long hands, pieced up Sangwoo Choi on the inside the pocket. I just think Steve Garcia is cleaner pocket boxing, and he's gonna find Sangwoo Choi's chin or even body, set him up to the body, and he can grapple. Maybe he pushes up Sangwoo Choi against the cage and takes him down in like the second round and ground and pounds him out from there. So yeah, now Kurt Halah versus Kenyan Kuches, whatever. If you don't put this guy out, what is it? If you don't put Cayenne, whatever, the spice. If you don't put this guy out immediately or in the first round, then I guess he's just going to grind on you and get a decision, and I think that's what's going to happen here. Kurt Halah doesn't win a fight in the UFC outside of that one tough victory. So I just think it's going to be like that, and he's going to lose a decision. I'm not going to break this fight down too much. I just think maybe he loses the first round and wins the next two. Now, Duran versus Bruno Silva. I'm going to go with Duran here, controlling the fight and surviving Bruno Silva's submission attempts. I know he does get caught in submissions, but he is resilient enough to survive them, and I don't think a guy like Bruno Silva is going to be the guy to put him out with a submission. So I'm going to just go with that. Wrestling heavy, striking, I'm guessing has been improving for Duran, and survives the first round, puts a whooping on the dude in the next two to get a decision win. Duho Choi, Algio, I'm going to go with Sangwoo Choi. I don't even know why I said Sangwoo Choi. I guess both Korean dudes. Shout out to him. Duho Choi. Duho Choi, not Sangwoo Choi. Duho Choi. He's going to get a decision now. He had a decent performance against Kyle Nelson in his comeback, and Bill Algio got TKO'd by Nelson on the feet via early stoppage. I know that, but still, Sangwoo Choi, oh my god, whatever. Choi was able to survive the stand-up of Kyle Nelson and win that fight apart from the head clash. If that point deduction wasn't there, then he would have won the fight. But I just think he's going to survive, Bill Algio's clinches on the feet, and eventually just piece the guy up enough and get into a scrap. I think Bill Algio is going to get into a scrap and not even go for his clinching, and Sangwoo Choi is going to be better technically enough to land on Bill Algio in a scrappy slugfest of exchanging hooks and stuff. So yeah, good for my boy Sangwoo. On to another Korean dude, Ji Young Lee versus Haider Emil. Haider Emil TKO'd that dude who likes to just survive in his fights, Fernie Garcia. And Ji Young Lee pushes a nice pace. He pushed a pace against Blake Builder. Now, I know I don't like Blake Builder because he has a bunch of social media followers for absolutely no reason. He took Shane Young to a decision, but he pushes a pace and stuff. He pushes a pace, lands nasty body shots and stuff, and I think Hyder Emil, just like, he took a random ass dude to a split decision on the regional scene where he got like into a scrap and stuff, and the guy did all right. And what is it? TK out Fernie Garcia or something like that. Good for him. The guy only looks to survive, and that put his boxing on showcase. But I think Ji Young Lee's the better fighter, and I think he's gonna immediately come out the gate and just piece the guy up, uppercuts, body shots, and put away Hyder Emil in the first round. And if not, he's capable enough to go the full fight, but it could get sketchy, as I think Hyder Emil has the better gas tank because of how fast of a pace Lee pushes. Now, that's that. Keller versus Gibson. I'm going to go with Gibson. Good scrambling ability against Miles Johns to stay alive in that fight. And, I mean, there's no real threat from Miles Johns. He does have knockouts, but not really. He's not the biggest of threats, but he was able to survive. And Keller ain't the same guy. I just think he's going to decision Keller in a dominant fight. Maybe gets close to a finish, but I think he'll utilize his grappling. He has decent enough grappling, I guess, to take out a guy like Keller. Not the best, obviously, because they're low-ranked bantamweights, but good enough to push a pace on Keller and decision him out because, he's susceptible to that. 30-27, in an odd chance, I'm not making this a lock because Keller could maybe fluke a finish. I just got a weird feeling he'll put one right on Gibson's chin and get an early stoppage or something like that. Now, Maverick versus Dion Barbosa. We just saw the story with this fight literally last week with Jasmine Jastavicius versus the other gal, Fazima, whatever her name was, Klein. Her last name was Klein. There you go. We saw the story with the fight. The veteran wins. You have to kind of prove yourself in the UFC. I don't think Dion Barbosa's fought on the UFC yet. So, we're going to see the same tale. And Miranda Maverick will get a decision. Same way, 30-27. Now, Loic Rajabov versus Trey Ogden. Close fight. Very close fight. And if Loic Rajabov, I mean, these guys are both grapplers in their own right. I know Trey Ogden's been submitted a bunch of times and stuff, but still, like Loic Rajabov, obviously a bit more of a caucus wrestler. I don't think he's going to be the type of guy to jump guillotines and stuff like Trey Ogden's been susceptible to early on in his regional career and stuff. But I just think Trey Ogden's going to cancel out the wrestling. They're both going to get taken down. It's going to be a Luque RDA-esque fight. But Trey Ogden has a way better gas tank. In his fight against Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi, Loic Rajabov was struggling with the pacing. I know he knocked the guy out in the third round, but he did look gassed and winded, in my opinion. And if he didn't clip Al-Sawadi, I think maybe he would have lost the fight. I know they were both gassed out, and the other dude was a bit more gassed out, but he was gassed out as well. And he does slow down in fights, even against Esteban Ribovics. I know he did win the fight with his control in 2 of the rounds, but Ribovics did good in the third round, as far as I can remember, surviving the grappling. And I think Trey Ogden's going to do good too. Good enough striking on the feet compared to Loic Rajabov. I know he got a knockout, but it was against a worn-out wrestler. And I think Trey Ogden's got decent enough of a boxing game to stand up on the feet with Loic and, to cancel out the grappling. And by cancel out, I mean exchange takedowns in a scramble fest. So 29-28 decision for Trey Ogden. Now, Luana Carolina versus Lucia Pudilova. One of the craziest odds, in my opinion. Even the fact that they're both 50-50 makes no sense, in my opinion. Luana Carolina has been proving that she can be able to defend takedowns. And Lucia Pudilova, well, she has one little TKO over, what is it, Wu Yanan. Like, she doesn't do damage on the ground at all. She looks to control. And Luana Carolina is good at defending takedowns and whatnot from other grapplers too. And she does a good job in that department. And I think she's going to absolutely cancel out Lucia Pudilova's grappling. And she's going to fail takedowns. And Luana's going to get right on top of her and control the fight in a boring decision. Nonetheless, because the card lacks an exciting fight, in my opinion. But, just going to control the fight on the feet, on the ground. 30-27 decision. It is what it is. Now, Mo Usman versus this absolute fridge of a son of Gastelum and Dominic Reyes, Thomas Peterson. I'm going to go with Mo Usman as my lock, as Jamal Pogues is the more unathletic version of Muhammad Usman. And he did Muhammad Usman's game minus the clinch, so Muhammad Usman has an advantage there. He can't clinch up with this fat dude. And he's a better striker, I'd say. He hung in there with Mick Parkin, the one and only Mick Parkin, looking to save the heavyweight division. He hung in there with him. And, decent in the boxing, and, he has some stink to his shots, and I think the way this fight is going to play out is they're going to be on the feet for the first 2 rounds, and Mo Usman's going to be controlling the fight and the clinch and stuff. Wins the first 2 rounds, and in the 3rd round, as they look to exchange, Muhammad's going to land one of those clean hooks right on Thomas Peterson's face, and he's going to wobble him and put him up against the cage as the guy wobbles around. And then he's going to TKO him up against the fence. Jamal Hill versus Ovince St. Preux style. And I think this is a lock. I don't see there being any chance Thomas Peterson wins this fight. Those were my picks for this absolute shit of a fight night card. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.